Zhang Long's eyes have mutated. At the beginning, we could only see the ups and downs and returns of stocks. Later on, with the upgrading and evolution. Futures forex, film investment, antique auctions, project bidding, venture capital acquisitions. Even employee partners can judge their ability and loyalty based on returns, becoming more and more comprehensive. Struggled counterattack. Welcome. Visit. P.S. Live up to your youth, write a brilliant and romantic life, no absolute female lead, all appearances will be accompanied by female partners, read slowly and carefully. Keywords of the novel. I can see the return rate without pop-ups, I can see the complete collection of return rate txt, and I can read the latest chapter on return rate. Chapter 1. Illusions or Mutations. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Illusions or Mutations. Auntie, this is 500,000. The emaciated young man opened his suitcase and saw a dazzling 500,000 yuan cash, reflecting the greedy gazes and faces of his ex-girlfriend and mother. In-law, hee. I agreed to get married, but I didn't expect to have to pay an additional 500,000 yuan for the entrance fee. Go to your uncle's house. Winning 5 million yuan, no longer serving. Xiao Zhang, please take a seat quickly. With a surprised expression on her face, Fan's mother reached forward to grab the black suitcase containing 500,000 yuan. However, in the next moment, her expression changed and she looked up, frowning and scolding, as the suitcase was closed with a bang and not allowed to be picked up. What are you doing, Xiao Zhang? Auntie, you misunderstood. Zhang Long pressed his palm on the black suitcase, showing a harmless smile as he said, this 500,000 cash is just for you to see, it doesn't mean anything else. Thank you. Now that you have finished reading it, I should also leave. I wish you a speedy find of your new son. In-law, the notorious villain. After speaking, Zhang Long stood up and wanted to leave. Ah Long. Fan Lu was incredulous and surprised, didn't she come to continue talking about getting married? Why did she suddenly collapse and not even look at her, a bit confused? Ah Long is already dead. The indifferent and calm voice exploded, and Zhang Long turned his head expressionlessly to gaze at his ex-girlfriend. Isn't this the result you picked? As an orphan, I admitted to having a household registration in order to enter the demon capital. The originally planned plan was to increase the household registration fee by 500,000, forcing me to break up. Oh, by the way, I also want to thank you for not getting married. Otherwise, there won't be any luck to buy lottery tickets and win. It's a pity that I won't participate in the wedding, so I can't help but give you a CD from the past at your wedding. Goodbye, I'll never see you again. Zhang Long smiled and waved his hand, then turned around and walked away. Zhang Long, you bastard. Fan's mother slammed the table and angrily scolded, but it had nothing to do with Zhang Long. Even if she vented her anger, it was considered revenge. That's enough, we'll see each other in the future. Raise your head, hold your chest high, and embrace a new life. Ding dong, please arrive on the 123rd. Zhang Long, who left the Fan family, did not directly return to the rental house. Instead, he took a taxi to a nearby bank and processed a transfer and remittance at the counter for the second item. Hello, may I ask what to do? Suddenly, the counter clerk's voice stopped, and as he looked at his somewhat weathered face and ID card in his hand, he couldn't help but smile and say, Zhang Long, it's really you. Class monitor. Zhang Longshan was stunned, is it so coincidental? Yes, it's me. Luo Man, with her black hair tied up and dressed in a blue bank professional suit, had a curved smile in her eyes. It's been 2 years since I last saw you, why are you so decadent? Forget it, I'm not curious about what business you handle. When you're working, don't reminisce about the past. Deposits and remittances. Zhang Long smiled awkwardly. In fact, he didn't want to do any business anymore. He just met his old classmate with a smile on his face, which made it difficult for him to leave. Open the suitcase and start paying. As bundles of cash were taken out, Luo Man's gaze changed from joy to surprise. Zhang Long, it seems, has made a fortune. It looks like he has hundreds of thousands. 500000, deposit. Okay, please wait a moment. Despite her surprise, Luo Man still restrained her emotions and carried out her work, which is a professional quality. However, it collapsed in just the next moment. On the computer screen, Zhang Long's bank card showed a balance of over 3.32 million yuan, and if he still had to deposit 500,000 yuan, it would be 3.82 million yuan. In an instant, Luo Man's heart twitched fiercely, her eyes showing disbelief and astonishment. The system went wrong. As a classmate and monitor, she knows that Zhang Long's registered residence is a community street in Hangzhou, and her parents are unknown. Although she doesn't know why she came to Mordor to go to university, it is certain that she didn't rely on him. Where did you get all this money? Did you win the lottery? The class monitor. Zhang Long coughed and woke up. Sorry. Luo Man regained her senses, took a deep breath, and quickly looked in surprise at Zhang Long. However, she quietly planted an inexplicable seed in her heart. More than 3.8 million, weighing 180 kilograms. Hiss, wipe. Dawn, the next day. Zhang Long suddenly woke up and sat up under a chill, shaking his slightly confused head. Last night's dream was so shy, and he dreamed that Luo Man would come home from work to eat together, kiss and roll the sheets. No wonder the horse ran away. This incident is so scary. Amitabha Buddha. Get up and wash up. Xingxin Finance. After a full hour and a half of public transportation and subway, Zhang Long finally arrived at his work company, a financial investment company located in Lujiazui on the Bund, which is very impressive. Just, no matter how grand it is, it's useless. The financial situation is not beautiful, the bear market has been in its fifth year and has not yet ushered in a bull market, with a severe depression. Xingxin's scale is not small, but it is also not small. If it weren't for a strong team and other businesses to fill in, it would probably have closed down or moved out of Lujiazui long ago. After all, the rent in this area is not low. Having a good reputation in finance is very important. If you drive in a remote location, customers will think that your strength is not strong. Even in Lujiazui, you cannot afford to rent and invest. Goodbye. Good morning, Brother Long. The boss asked you to have a morning meeting. In the team workstation area, before Zhang Long could stand still, he heard bad news. Early in the morning, the pregnant client of the team manager came again, clamoring for compensation. A year and a half ago, when I opened an account and entered the market, I didn't make any profit and kept losing. The stock price didn't rise but only fell, and it was very stable. Even if there is occasional rebound, I haven't returned to my previous buying point and have been stuck until now. Pregnancy produces hormones in the body. I am already prone to emotional fluctuations, and watching my stock account lose money every day makes me even more excited. In such a market environment, no one can do anything about it. Investing in the market with risks requires caution, and I also signed a risk agreement when opening an account. However, now that pregnant woman no longer recognizes it, causing trouble and losing money. Today is already my third time coming to my home. I won't leave without losing money, and I'll stay at the company without eating or drinking. We are currently mediating in the reception room. After all, losing money is impossible. If this kind of opening is made, once exposed, one after another will come knocking on the door to demand compensation. Moreover, even if the customer sues, they will not win. Xingxin has not engaged in any illegal or irregular operations, but the customer is now a pregnant woman and it is difficult to handle. If you really insist on knocking, it will give you a headache. Break up the meeting. Zhang Long is straightforward and busy with his own tasks. There's nothing to do in the morning meeting. After all, it's just a matter of maintaining existing customers, tracking good intentions towards customers, and developing new customers. Morning. 09.30.11.30 Afternoon. 13.00.15.00 The opening time of the stock market is 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon. It is now almost 9 o'clock, browsing the daily stock recommendations uploaded by company analysts, and starting to be busy. The egg hurts slightly. Zhang Long opened the Kanpan software. Seeing the overall market points and the bleak recent trend, I couldn't help but grit my teeth. Originally, I was going to resign today according to plan. Old customers are basically either trapped or running away, and new customers are even more difficult to develop. Moreover, even if they are developed, it is useless. Once I buy it, I will lose out. Without trading, there will be no commission, without commission, there will be no commission. Even if you only earn a basic salary, it will be enough for rent and living expenses. Although there are stocks that rise or limit up every day in bear markets, most people don't have this luck. Don't think about it. At least there are no customers from Xinxian. Suddenly, Zhang Long felt dizzy in front of him. Tuohai Energy. This stock is the one that the team manager, the pregnant customer, is most trapped in. Curious, he wants to take a look at the current trend. At first, it was normal, but when he switches to looking at the daily candlestick chart, his eyes suddenly hurt, and he seems to have an illusion. The candlestick moved on its own. September 3, 2012, Monday. It's not yet 9.30 opening time. The trend of the daily candlestick chart for today, tomorrow, and this week has unexpectedly been extended and drawn on its own. After completing the 5-day trend extension, it stopped and deviated from the original chart. Hiss. Zhang Long suddenly shuddered. Subconsciously rubbing my eyes, I looked at the computer screen and saw the clear future trend of Tuohai Energy, on the 5th, shining brightly in my eyes. The yield is soaring and will rise sharply. Surprisingly, it can reach over 20%. Wipe. Zhang Long shivered again. I turned my head left and right to look, then closed my eyes and adjusted my breathing a few times. I opened my eyes and fixed my gaze on the screen. Amitabha Buddha, a pleasant surprise has descended from heaven. P.S. Collect and follow up. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Tuohai Energy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Tuohai Energy. These past few days, Zhang Long has sorted out his life memories from 2 lifetimes. This is a parallel world that is roughly similar to his previous life. Unfortunately, apart from inheriting his predecessor's winning donation and paying taxes, the remaining 3.82 million is gone. Novels that cannot be read by dictation, songs, and movies have an average level of memory. Now it's okay, Golden Finger is here. Sister Zhang. I don't listen. In the reception room, a young woman in her 30s with a big belly looked sorrowful. I bought it for 20 yuan, but now it has dropped to 5 yuan. What else are you saying? I was supposed to buy a house for 3 million yuan, but you tricked me into investing in stocks and lost me money. If I don't compensate, I'll die here. In the face of the above comments, no matter how many people at Xinxian Company explain it, it is useless. Zhang Lizhen is determined to compensate, even if it is troublesome. Relying on being a pregnant woman, I went all out. Sister Zhang. Don't talk, I won't listen. A professional suit, Liang Shui's tired expression was very helpless. Whether it was her or the director and vice president, it was useless to say anything, just to fully compensate. Don't lose money, make a fuss until you pay. Reporting to the police is useless, and in general, companies do not choose to escalate the situation. They will not disclose anything that can be resolved privately, or if there is evidence, they can file a lawsuit without violating any laws or regulations. There is a risk in stock trading, which is normal. How can one claim compensation if they are happy and lose? If that's the case, the country should just shut down the stock market. Typically unable to afford playing. Zhang Lizhen is also very clear that even if you sue, you won't win. Sheng Xian only provides platform and stock diagnosis advice, and the specific operation is up to her personally. No matter how you sue, you won't win. I can only play the role of a scoundrel and fight to the death. Oh my God, it fell again. Suddenly, Zhang Lizhen let out a painful cry. At 9.30 when the stock market opened, the computer interface, Tuohai Energy, instantly fell by 40 cents, a decrease of 8%, and her heart couldn't bear it. I almost fell below the limit at the opening, it's fatal. Gone. Zhang Long's heart erupted with profanity. At the opening of the stock market, the trend of Tuohai Energy was as expected. It fell by 8% at the beginning and then instantly rebounded to a decrease of 5%. If nothing unexpected happens, it will fluctuate and stabilize around this point until noon. After opening in the afternoon, it will gradually make up for the decline and finally close at 2%. Stabilize the stock price at the 5 yuan mark. Whew! Zhang Long took a deep breath. Traveling through parallel worlds from awakening, and now being able to see the future trends of stocks with one's eyes, is so surreal and surprising, even more so than dreaming. My heart is pounding and excited. Suddenly, Zhang Long was taken aback. I casually opened a stock and switched to the daily candlestick chart, but after waiting for a while, there was no response. My eyes were not dizzy or painful, and I switched to the hourly candlestick chart, as well as other cycles, but there was no response. In an instant, I felt a bit square. Returning to Tuohai Energy, immediately, the future trend and yield of this week are clearly visible in the eyes, and while taking a sigh of relief, there is a question mark in my mind. After a slight contemplation, I randomly opened a few stocks in the market, but once again, there was no response. Longpeng Technology. Okay. Weiyuan Biology. Okay. Liang Shui's client Zhang Lizhen holds a total of 3 stocks in her account, and surprisingly, they can all predict the trend. Zhang Long was a bit silent. Although there was no response from randomly looking at stocks in the market, he was able to diagnose Zhang Lizhen. This situation is a bit inexplicable. What is the reason for it? Zhang Long's brain operates in thought. Is it due to her own surname, or is it because Zhang Lizhen is a company or team client, or there are other reasons that cannot be determined? Give it a try. Do whatever comes to mind without hesitation. Zhang Long himself, as well as other colleagues, have many clients who are holding on to various types of stocks. We must always explore the laws of prediction. I'm not afraid that my golden fingers have limitations, but I'm afraid that I'll catch you blind with a black eye. It seems a bit unstable, but I just crossed over and haven't fully buffered it yet. It can only be effective in the company, but not necessarily. At least you can predict the market by searching for stocks at home, otherwise how can you speculate on your own? Heavenly and earthly spirits. LV.1. Suddenly, Zhang Long was taken aback. He didn't pay attention just now. After using the prediction function again, he found a virtual level display in the upper right corner of his eye that appeared to be LV.1. Boss, how's it going? Liang Shui returned with tired eyes. Encountering clients like Zhang Lizhen who are promiscuous and pregnant can be a disaster for both individuals and the company if not handled properly, making it difficult to achieve the best of both worlds. It's okay. Liang Shui waved her hand. This matter has exceeded her control and resolution capabilities. The director and deputy general manager are currently communicating with Zhang Lizhen. If this is not possible, the matter can only be reduced to a minor one. However, Zhang Lizhen must keep it confidential and not publicize it when receiving compensation, otherwise it will be completely overturned. As for the alarm, it is temporarily inconvenient. Suddenly, Liang Shui was taken aback. When she returned to her workstation, she was the last one to pass by Zhang Long. However, she heard that Zhang Long was talking to a customer on the phone, and the content was a bit surprising. She was actually recommending to the customer to follow Tuohai Energy. What's going on? What's the situation? Director Zhang. Zhang Long hung up the phone and immediately heard a familiar and crisp voice in his ear. Without turning his head, he knew it was the team manager Liang Shui. What were you doing? Forget it. Faced with Zhang Long's somewhat bewildered gaze, Liang Shui thought for a moment and decided not to. It was just recommended to follow, not to ask customers to place orders. There was nothing surprising, even though Tuohai Energy had a bad trend, the ultra-low price of 5 yuan was indeed worth paying attention to, no problem. The issue price is around 18 yuan, with a maximum of 35 yuan. The current price range is around 5 yuan, so you can follow. If it weren't for the 2 years of continuous decline without much increase, the current price would be a good time to take a bottom, but not many people believe it, and Zhang Lizhen would be in despair. Otherwise, I wouldn't have come to the company to cause trouble. Snow sister. Liang Shui is fine, but Zhang Long has something to do. He talked to several clients who could be reached on the phone, and even sent a stock diagnosis text message through the system if he couldn't get through. The task was completed. Prepared to take Zhang Lizhen for verification. Zhang Jie, do you remember me? In the reception room, Zhang Long has a friendly smile. Zhang Long once received Zhang Lizhen, after all, she was from her own team and also had the same surname Zhang. It's just that losing money is useless even for her younger brother. Stop talking nonsense. Xiao Zhang, calling me sister is useless. Zhang Lizhen sighed and said, I really can't bear it anymore. I won't say anything if I can hold on. The company is not doing well, payment arrears occur, and soon our child will be born. We need money everywhere, and there's nothing we can do. Everything that can be mortgaged has been mortgaged. Zhang Lizhen recounted her own hardships. Every family has a difficult time to remember, and it is normal for her to face a crisis and bankruptcy without financial freedom. However, that's not what Zhang Long is saying. It doesn't matter whether the client is telling the truth or lying. It is important to solve the problem. Zhang Lizhen's question, I want to go back to the original. Sister Zhang. Zhang Long pointed to the computer screen and said, I won't say much else. In terms of price, the 5 yuan position of Tuohai Energy is very suitable for bottoming out. The opening price fell by 8%, but it instantly pulled back 3%. It is still fluctuating, which proves that market sentiment does not want it to fall again. This is a good omen. Believe my brother's words, let's wait and see. There should be a turning point after the afternoon market opens. Perhaps we can make up for the decline and close the limit up. Today is Monday, and I believe you, Sister Zhang, know that closing the limit up means laying a foundation for future trends. As for the other two supporting stocks. In the reception room, customers Zhang Lizhen, as well as Liang Shui and the department director, couldn't help but feel a bit sweaty as Zhang Long came up with a bottom-up analysis. The analysis is reasonable, but it is not in line with the sentiment of price bottoming, and it is impossible to guarantee an increase. If it were all like this, I would have gone crazy long ago. I suggest selling it. Zhang Long settled his tone and said, Longping Technology and Weiyuan Biotechnology have relatively high prices and high holding costs, with bearish prices far exceeding bullish prices. Although both stocks have reached the technical support point in the early stage, if they fall below, they will collapse all the way. You can calculate the extent of the decline space to know how high the risk is, which is equivalent to repeating the bloodbath of Tuohai Energy. No surprise, shortly after the afternoon opening, Longpeng and Weiyuan will tentatively fall below the previous technical support, briefly rebound, and finally stop at a fixed price and close the trading limit. Tomorrow morning is the last selling opportunity. If missed, you may end up with a bloody death in the afternoon. Sister Zhang, my younger brother has confidence. Let's meet at dawn in the afternoon. P.S. Collect and follow up. Seeking investment and recommending monthly tickets. It is important to read during the recommendation period. If you have free time on a daily basis, please try to read every day. Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Surprise. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Surprise. Zhang Lizhen was intimidated. Zhang Long's expression and tone were very confident. There was no one who played with stocks who didn't want to soar, and no one who could make money through trading was willing to cause trouble and become a shrew. Anyway, I'll see you in the afternoon. Let's take a look. If the three stocks do not follow Zhang Long's expected trend, then the plan remains unchanged and the fuss will continue until the end. Have you figured it out? Cough, it's cleared. Zhang Long was slightly sweating, but he forgot that Liang Shui knew he had been regretful. He had previously advised his predecessor that there was nowhere to be found in the world, so there was no need to fall in love with a single flower. And Liang Shui should have figured out Zhang Long's work status today. It's pretty good, right? What a big deal. Liang Shui calmed down her emotions and pouted. It's just that losing a relationship is a matter of life and death. It's hard to go to the woman's house and be a horse and a cow for a lifetime. It's good to get separated. Work hard and earn a lot of money. One day, buy a house and get married in Magic City, and slap your face back. Listen, Zhang Long is sweating again. Making money is not that easy. Apart from the Lujiazui area, the average house price on the Bund is also 45,000 yuan per square meter. You can buy 1 square meter without eating or drinking for a year. But it's not without hope. Yesterday, I saved 500,000 yuan but transferred 300,000 yuan. Although the total amount in my card is not much, I can still do better than before even with my golden fingers open. At least there should be no pressure to pay the down payment and repay the loan. Alright, let me tell you something. Without further ado, Liang Shui convened a team to attend a meeting in the conference room. In the new month, there must be new goals, and even if the market is sluggish, it is not completely without food. However, compared to a bull market, it is a bit insufficient to eat and barely starve to death. Today is September 3rd, Monday. It's just 4 weeks away from the National Day holiday, and the gimmicks of gold and silver can have a topic for maintaining old customer transactions or developing new customers. Let's work hard. The most important thing is that the investment department needs to streamline the team and use September performance as the standard. 8 teams, go for 2 to save 6. Not only the investment department, but also other departments such as administration and personnel will gradually be streamlined. Performance is king, and those who cannot create value, goodbye before National Day. Today is a good day. Zhang Long does not need to develop new customers, and he has been a veteran employee of Xingxin for 2 years. His main daily work is to assist the team in maintaining customer transactions. If there are customers under the name of the team's departing employees who do not submit to the company's shared pool, they will be transferred to Zhang Long's name to save them. Similarly, if team members have not resigned but do not have the energy to assist in customer transactions, they can still be handed over to Zhang Long for maintenance, with commission split equally between both parties. It's just that the current stock market environment is trapped, and new customers are difficult to develop, which is very boring. This time, the company has streamlined its size, and Zhang Long has always been ranked lower among the 8 team managers. If the performance evaluation is still last by the end of the month, it will be over. TSK. In front of the workstation, Zhang Long's eyes lit up. After conducting research and screening, I have gained a preliminary understanding of the rules for using eyes to predict stock trends. Firstly, the shareholding of the clients under one's own name can be predicted. Secondly, it is also possible for the team manager under Liang Shui's name, but it is not possible for other colleagues within the team who do not share the share. It is estimated that there needs to be a direct interest relationship. As for why the team manager under Liang Shue's name works, I am not sure. But it's not important, it's not a big deal. Also, there is no response to randomly looking at a stock in the market, but the recommended stocks in the daily stock diagnosis report provided by the company's analyst team are acceptable. The company originally did not allow customers to recommend stocks casually, and it was based on daily stock diagnosis reports. It seems that Golden Finger must follow the company's rules within the framework to be effective, and cannot violate any rules or regulations. So relatively speaking, there are no restrictions. Brother Long, Brother Long. Suddenly, a sound exploded. But when my colleague next to me saw Zhang Long's eyes shining and saliva flowing, he couldn't help but feel a bit creepy. He looked at the plate like he saw a beautiful woman, and was stunned. Hiss, heartbreak is so scary and heartbreaking. I have a good appetite. In Xingxin, Zhang Long has few friends and a quiet personality. Coupled with his recent breakup, the public cafeteria on the second floor of the basement building is mostly dining alone. Liang Shui occasionally gathers a table. Not bad. Zhang Long smiled slightly. Most of the time, Liang Shui eats with her manager, and although the relationship between the two colleagues is just like that for a year and a half, Zhang Long was not in the same team as Liang Shui at first. After 6 months of joining, the original team disbanded, which led to her being transferred to Liang Shui's team and staying there until now. The remaining ones became the supervisor. At the beginning of the year, the company adjusted its team management model and added a supervisor to assist team clients in transactions. Zhang Long's personality is very suitable for taking the analyst route. With the recommendation of Liang Shui, he became a supervisor, which made the relationship relatively friendly. And the team leader actually has a better reputation, with a basic salary similar to that of ordinary employees, so there is no substantial value, and without commission, there is no sharing. Get a basic salary and eat dirt every month. Let's cheer each other on. Liang Shui blinked her eyes and didn't say much, but the meaning was very clear. If the performance of this month is reversed, it is estimated that both of them will have to leave. Even if they can be transferred to other departments, there will be no development. It is not polite to resign and change careers. In the cold winter of the market, all companies are the same. If they can withstand a bull market, they can take their careers closer. At that time, the company will expand their management team and take off. If you resign and look for other companies, the bull market is still in the position of basic employees, which is painful. So, we must rise up. Seeing that Zhang Long's mental state at work today was like that of a different person, Liang Shui was actually very happy. At least she was no longer the passive and lazy she used to be. She looked like she loved someone and would leave and run away at any time. She had good motivation. Work together to overcome difficulties. Hiss, really probing. For lunch, Zhang Lizhen had a high-end set meal customized by Xingxin. She endured until the stock market opened at 13.00, but soon after, she suddenly lost her composure. Zhang Long was not weak. Longping technology fell below support, although it quickly rose again, it did fall. Market sentiment is testing support points. Not long after, another supporting stock, Weiyuan Biotechnology, also tested the current price support and the strength of the support within less than 10 minutes. This trend is consistent with what Zhang Long said, with prices near the support point. Up and down pulling. Holding on doesn't necessarily lead to a surge. But if it completely breaks through the support, it is highly likely to start a blood avalanche downward trend, staged by Tuohai Energy, falling from 20 yuan to 5 yuan, a huge 75% reduction in proportion. It's too dangerous, it's too scary. Surprise. Did you really guess right? Not everyone can make up their mind just by cutting meat and selling, especially for stubborn individuals like Zhang Long who recognize profits but not losses. If their mentality of luck supports them and they cannot break through and start a big upward trend, missing out can be heartbreaking. Sister Zhang. In the reception room, Zhang Long shrugged and said, "You have also seen the trend, which is similar to my estimate. Just wait and see before the close at 3 p.m, it's not a big deal. But if we don't make a decision tomorrow morning, we won't have a chance to break through the support. The more it falls, the less I want to sell." Zhang Long furrowed her brows and was conflicted. Even if Zhang Long's analysis was reasonable, it was only an estimate. However, if it were to be sold, it would be a real cut in the flesh, which was too painful. But if it really falls, it will hurt even more. "Zhang Jie, look." Suddenly, Zhang Long smacked his lips and said, "Tuohai Energy is slowly recovering. If it can still reverse its gains in the afternoon despite an 8% opening decline, it proves that the market sentiment does not want to fall below the 5 yuan mark and is bullish. There is little downside and a lot of upside, making this price an excellent opportunity to take a bottom. Whether to grasp or not depends on oneself. The final decision and operation still have to be made by Zhang Long herself, and Zhang Long can only analyze and provide suggestions. As for whether to listen or not, it is not easy to force. Time passes, and the atmosphere remains calm. "Xiao Zhang, wait for the closing." Zhang Lijian's face was uncertain, but being able to cause trouble at Xingxin was not indecisive. "If Tuohai Energy closes the limit up, I believe you," she said. "I'll take your advice tomorrow morning." Sister and the child in her belly. P.S. Why did you not resign directly? There is an explanation in the article that you need to explore and verify the golden finger. 2. Firstly, self-aggravate and build reputation in the workplace to accumulate some network resources, providing a channel for future company development. At the same time, slowing down the pace is also for the purpose of writing longer in the middle and later stages, with a goal of over 2 million words. Sheng Xian doesn't have many chapters in his work, so don't worry. Seeking investment and recommending monthly tickets. During the recommendation period, it is important to follow up on reading. If you have free time, please try to follow up on it every day. Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Cold Winter and Dawn. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Cold Winter and Dawn. Zhang Long has left. 15. Before 00, Tuohai Energy completely made up for the morning decline and stopped trading at a 2% increase. When this result came out, not only Zhang Long, but also Liang Shui and the director were trembling. The analysis and speculation were very accurate. It was like cheating. Surprise, unbelievable. "Hello, Brother Wang." "Hey, Sister Lu. I called you in the morning but didn't answer your call. I sent you a text message following Tuohai Energy, and saw that. In the afternoon, I made up for the morning's decline and closed up 2% higher. This trend is likely to be bottoming out. Once the bottoming out is successful. Zhang Long is very busy, making various phone calls. In the morning, based on the funds and shareholding status of our clients, we either made a phone call or sent a text message. Some targeted our clients' own holdings, while others recommended following Tuohai Energy. As the expected results are improving, we naturally need to seize the opportunity to build confidence for our clients. Those who play with stocks don't like to take bottom trades. The stock price of Tuohai Energy is low and there is enough room for growth. Whether to buy or not, at least whether it is bottoming out or not, it is indeed worth paying attention to. The rise of stock prices relies on funds to drive it, and it is human nature to buy only when the market bottoms out. To copy the bottom, sufficient reasons must be given. Brother Chen. There is no point in taking a bottom profit of 108,000 yuan. Other shareholdings are reluctant to sell, and even if they seize the opportunity of Tuohai Energy, they may not necessarily make a profit. Opportunities are in front of them, and after passing this village, the land may not be available. Sister U. The three elements of bottoming out: price, support, and yield. Currently, Tuohai Energy has all of them. I am in such a hurry because I treat you as my own sister. It is not a problem to be reluctant to cut the flesh, but if there are idle funds, don't miss them. The opportunity is only in these 2 days. Building a bottom is not waiting for anyone. Zhang Long seems to have received chicken blood. Based on the preparation provided to the clients in the morning, we need to wrap up the work well in the afternoon. This job is related to the use and development of the golden finger, and we must conduct comprehensive investigations to prepare for future development. Eliminating is not important. The important thing is to earn some money during this month while gradually formulating a plan for your future life, 3 to 5 years and the second half of your life, without wasting time. Qian Jie. Zhang Long earnestly said, "It's not that I'm not helping you. If the stock doesn't rise, I can't do anything about it. There's a chance at the moment that I'm likely to make a profit. I don't know if I can recoup, but at least it's really a big increase. We didn't miss it. I'll wait for your good news tomorrow. Time is simply not enough." Zhang Long has been making phone calls since the afternoon trading halt, and many customers who didn't pick up in the morning have also answered at this time. Whether it's the diagnosis of shareholding or the judgment of today's trend of Tuohai Energy, it's like an iron mouth cutting. The opportunity to make a profit is right in front of us. Believe it or not, at least today's analysis and judgment have ignited a glimmer of confidence among many customers. "Brother Long, I'm cheating." It's cheating. Chang Song's workstation is adjacent to Zhang Long, and they are quietly discussing with Bai Xiaoying next door. The two of them are most aware of Zhang Long's phone call status in the afternoon. The trend of Tuohai Energy today is very good, but in Zhang Long's mouth, it seems as if he is certain that he is bottoming out and is about to experience a big rise. It should be noted that the stocks recommended by the daily analyst team are not stocks that have not bottomed out, but most of them have failed to do so and continue to decline. Some even plummeted from a few yuan to a few cents, collapsing very much. If Tuohai Energy fails to bottom out, it will either continue to fluctuate at the 5 yuan level or plummet. Once the bottom line fails, I won't say much. Hu Zhang Long, take a long breath. There are many clients under my name, only a few of whom are engaged in normal transactions. I make phone calls quickly and decisively, while others either stay stuck or refuse to answer calls at all. I either give up on continuing communication or work overtime at night to keep in touch. It's 6 o'clock, we can finish work now. What, you're leaving? However, as soon as there was a hint of wanting to run away and leave work, Liang Shui quietly arrived and said, "You're in good shape. Let's take advantage of the heat and communicate a few more tonight. I also have Zhang Lizhen under your name. At least we need to communicate tonight. I'll wait until tomorrow morning when the yellow cauliflower is cold. Come on, stand up. Zhang Longxin is tired. I don't want to work overtime. Moving. Well, yes. The cafeteria in the building does not open at night." Zhang Long and Liang Shui went downstairs to a nearby fast food restaurant, where they have everything from rice noodles to noodles, and the taste is quite good. "You live too far away." Liang Shui said quickly, "It's too far and time-consuming to commute for 3 hours. This month is crucial, so it's best to consider it within half an hour." "Well, good." Zhang Long nodded. "I definitely won't move before, after all, if I resign or my performance doesn't meet the standards, I will be eliminated. Moving is both troublesome and costly, but now that I am confident in improving my performance, moving is also feasible." "Shui Jie, will you really be eliminated?" Zhang Long asked curiously. Even if an ordinary employee is eliminated, they still have to go to 2 team managers. They are both old employees, right? It's really fake. Really? Liang Shui paused slightly as she ate. However, performance is performance, and attitude is as important as effort. If you can't even force yourself to do it, you just give up. If you eliminate it, you will be eliminated. Do you understand? Alright, let's eat. Zhang Long hummed and started eating. Liang Shui's meaning is very obvious. Even under the pressure of performance elimination, one will also look at their work attitude. If they see the bottom of their performance, they will give up and not hold on. In the cold winter of the industry, if one lacks confidence and strong willpower, it is better to switch careers early. So, after dinner, Zhang Long returned to the company to continue calling and contacting clients. There were not many people in the entire investment department who left after work and were working hard. In the first week of September, we are all at the starting line, and even if we have to give up, it will be in the last 4 weeks. Maintain loyal customers. Track and stimulate potential customers. Performance, enduring the cold winter is the dawn. We really need to move. It was night, and when Zhang Long returned to the rental house, it was close to 11 o'clock. He had to wash up and relax before going to bed. He had to take the bus at 7:30 in the morning, otherwise if any section of the road was delayed, he would be late. Say goodbye to the whole attendance. Of course, you can also avoid overtime at night, as long as you are not afraid of poor performance and being eliminated, it depends on yourself. Oh, love. Bathroom, Zhang Long washes and takes a shower. I used to rent here because it was not too far from the Fan family. Otherwise, there was no subway entrance near the community and I had to take the bus first. This was quite uncomfortable for office workers. Although sharing a house was indeed very cheap, it was still relatively not cost-effective. But it's okay now. I've been working and searching for a house online these days, and I'll be moving on Saturdays and Sundays. This place is no longer nostalgic. Wipe, indeed. After washing up, Zhang Long opened his computer. Securities practitioners are not allowed to open stock trading accounts. They have no family or friends, and even borrowing an ID card can be a bit difficult. Therefore, they have to check whether futures or foreign exchange can be used for trading. After reading the interface for a long time, there is no response, so they have to take a break. Estimating LV.1 can only predict the rise and fall of stocks and their returns, and the level can definitely be upgraded. In addition, if I resign and no longer work, can I open my own account to speculate on stocks and make any predictions? What if the resignation bonus finger disappears directly? Originally, I thought I could take off with a huge sum of 3.52 million yuan quickly, but now it doesn't seem that easy. After getting rich, I still need to settle down and develop in a sleazy way. Otherwise, this amount of money would be enough as a down payment in the bund. It's enough to pay in full in ordinary areas like the Magic City, but there's no bustling bund. If you want to buy a high-quality boutique house in a designated location. Don't rush, take it slow. Work for a month and explore the golden finger carefully to ensure it won't disappear. Woohoo, shattered sleep. There are restrictions on the golden finger, it's okay. Moreover, as his level increases, more permissions should be opened up. God did not let him come to this world to work for a lifetime. Afraid of inflation and future setbacks. One step at a time, it's okay. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Transactions and Commissions. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Transactions and Commissions Working at Dawn, Xingxin Finance. Zhang Long can only predict the closing of Tuohai Energy until Friday when looking at the market. If it continues tomorrow, he can only predict the trend of this week, without crossing weekends. I searched for several predictable stocks again, but the results were still only available until Friday. I couldn't help but scratch my head. Do not recommend holding positions over the weekend. Zhang Jie, don't panic. 9. At the opening of the 30 stock market, Zhang Long was the first to call Zhang Lizhen. The omen of a 5% decline in the opening of Tuohai Energy made Zhang Lizhen a little nervous. However, Zhang Long knows that today's trend is basically consistent with yesterday's, and the market will close at a 3% increase in the afternoon. Tomorrow Wednesday, the price will stabilize and rise. It's normal to build a foundation. Zhang Long's tone was very confident. It takes great courage and wisdom to make a bottom call. Repeated downward probing is to eliminate retail investors with weak confidence. The profit from a bottom call price of 5 yuan is greater than the risk, and it is worth taking a gamble. Planning one's own transactions, trading one's own plans, is the most standardized and rational operation. Miss Zhang, believe in the market. On the other hand, Zhang Lizhen felt uneasy. If it's just bottoming out, it's okay, but there's no idle funds. We need to sell off the other two supporting stocks in order to have the funds to buy into Tuohai Energy. This makes it a bit difficult to make up our minds. If Longpeng and Weiyuan rise sharply while Tuohai falls sharply, it will cause trouble. But you can also take a gamble. Anyway, if you lose again, you can continue to make trouble. It's not without a last resort. Half a month, only half a month's time is given. Miss Zhang, believe in yourself. After speaking, Zhang Long hung up the phone. The real decision and operation still need to be made by the client themselves. As an investment broker, it is sufficient to provide advice on the pros and cons of shareholding and the risk and return of stock diagnosis. Do not force customers to trade. Hello, Brother Chen. Zhang Long dialed the second phone number and said, "It's not a big deal if the opening price drops. As long as it doesn't completely fall below, your idle funds should move. If you're worried about falling below, you can wait for the gains to stabilize before buying. Anyway, it's up to you to decide whether to make more or less. Sister Yu." The third phone call, if you hesitate again, the opportunity may really be gone. Just wait and see until the end, there's nothing left. Once you successfully hit the bottom and start rising, do you still dare to chase the price up and buy? My suggestion is to seize it and don't miss it. The benefits are right in front of us. Pretty on one end, Zhang Long was calling clients one by one, while on the other end, Liang Shui suddenly whispered. Zhang Lizhen's account has been moved. The trapped Longpeng Technology and Weiyuan Biotechnology have chosen to sell off, freeing up nearly 500,000 positions of funds. The stocks are withdrawn and received in T+1, every other trading day, but the funds released during the day can be bought at any time, with 2 commissions for selling and buying. The current stock market environment is sluggish, and customer trading commissions are discounted by Xingxin based on customer level. Zhang Lizhen's ratio is 50,000. 5 thousandths, 5 thousandths. If Zhang Lizhen sells and buys, with a transaction amount of 1 million, a commission of 500 yuan will be charged. If we follow the securities regulations with a maximum limit of 0.3 yuan, it would be 3,000 yuan. Unfortunately, nowadays, the market environment is not good, and everyone is offering discounts. The most expensive basic fees will not exceed 1.1 yuan, and the lowest may even be 0.3 yuan. Under 500,000, 1,000. 500,000 to 2 million, 800,000. 2.5 million, 50,000. Over 5 million, 3 million. The above is Xingxin's fee standard, which is adjusted according to the customer's entry funds. Zhang Lizhen has entered the household for a total of 3 million yuan and enjoys a fee of 50,000 yuan. Don't be fooled by the fact that the total amount of incoming funds is quite substantial, but the actual operation is only a few times trapped. It's heartbreaking. Anyway, Liang Shui didn't share much in Zhang Lizhen's transaction commission, 800 or at most 1,000. And Xingxin divides the commission for stockbrokers into 3 levels of 20%, 0.25%, 0.35% of the quota, with monthly commissions based on the total commission level. 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 or more. Unfortunately, Zhang Long's monthly commission has never exceeded 50,000 yuan and has always been at the lowest percentage. Ha, that's it. Zhang Long rubbed his fists and palms, full of energy. Congratulations, it's a great start. Liang Shui lightly patted Zhang Long's shoulder, that's great. Has old Chen moved yet? Moved, 100,000 yuan. Liang Shui looked delighted and said, I bought 100,000 Tuohai energy and tried to get him to add more. The stocks I had locked up and have not been released, which proves that there are still idle funds. Zhang Long nodded and fought for it. The true amount of money in a customer's wallet is only known to the customer themselves. There is a saying in the financial industry. Do not use your own wallet to measure the customer's wallet. If someone only uses hundreds of thousands or even millions of pocket money to play, anything is possible. Just talk about the opportunity to the client, inform them of the risks and benefits, and be on the right track. Hello, Sister Qian. Zhang Long continues to make phone calls. Liang Shui stopped to watch for a moment and then stopped paying attention. The team was not only Zhang Long, but also 7 other employees who needed help, assisting in coaching trading clients and developing potential clients. There was a lot of work to be done. As a team manager, I am very busy. The first person in the entire team to get on track with work was actually Zhang Long. Even if the client engaged in independent ticket trading, Zhang Lizhen and Lao Chen's 2 orders today were completely driven by Zhang Long's ability, which is very good. The status has improved, and the performance will not be poor. It's not easy to do in a sluggish market, and customers are not active in buying and selling transactions, so there aren't many commissions. The investment department can reach a monthly range of 50,000 to 100,000 yuan, let alone over 200,000 yuan, and they can't earn much commission. I hope Zhang Long can give me some strength and cheer. Okay, it's okay. I have time after 3 p.m. and can come to the company for a face-to-face meeting. Okay, no problem. Hanging up the phone gave Zhang Long a boost. A wealthy family of 5 million, are they really fake? Customer deposit is equivalent to invoicing. Xingxin offers bonuses to investment brokers who deposit a certain amount of money each month. Calculate independently for each customer. Although the bonus is not high, even a small mosquito is still meat. As long as you invest more money and trade more, Zhang Long estimates that the performance commission for this month will not be low and will still be considerable. It's pretty good, I'm getting more and more hopeful. Are you sure? About 70%. Zhang Long pondered slightly. Sister Qian said that if Tuohai Energy continues to rise before the suspension of trading, she believes it is bottoming out and bullish. However, she needs to come to the company for a personal interview. I asked how much additional funds would be added, and her tone was very relaxed, saying 5 million, not like bragging. Well, let's take a look before we talk. Liang Shui nodded. Ms. Qian was a former employee who was assigned to Zhang Long's account. She had initially deposited 500,000 yuan in her account and had not made any transactions. It is unlikely to add 5 million. Regardless of whether it is true or false, it will be known in the afternoon. As time passed, Zhang Long made many phone calls in the morning, and only 3 started trading. Although not many, it was a good omen. With continuous communication and gradually accumulating customer confidence, there will be some trading. Facing accurate analysis every day, missing transactions means missing profits, and it won't last long. Of course, if you really don't want to cut the meat and don't have idle funds to inject, there's no way. If the risks and benefits are well explained but haven't been reflected yet, let's just stick to it. Choose trusted customers, and as profits increase, trust will also increase, and then you can proceed to the second stage. Short-term operations allow customers to accumulate profits while generating substantial commissions, achieving a win-win situation. Otherwise, even if there is no action after buying for 5 million yuan, a commission of only 1,500 yuan per transaction will not be much, and a win-win situation is the key. Working, we should also work happily. Those who cannot earn money are happy and poor. Sorry, no. If there are golden fingers, they should be hard. Of course, this is also an opportunity and time to make money in the future. After roughly testing the golden finger, you will resign, and there will not be too much delay with Xingxin. Rapidly getting rich. It won't take long. End of this chapter. Chapter 6 Objective. Number 1. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 6 Objective. Number 1. In the afternoon, there were ups and downs. Zhang Lijian's heart was like riding a roller coaster, feeling a bit uncomfortable. Shortly after opening in the afternoon, Weiyuan Biology suddenly accelerated its decline, rebounding and pulling several times but unable to stop the limit down, with a dazzling green glow. Longpeng Technology is slightly stronger, although it did not hit the limit down, it also closed at 7.5% of the limit down. As for Tuohai Energy, it's amazing. Xiao Zhang, thank you. Zhang Lizhen felt lingering fear and completely convinced Zhang Long's prediction. It was too wise to sell Weiyuan and Longpeng early in the morning and avoid a big loss. Following the advice, the 500,000 Tuohai Energy purchased at 0.2% closed at the limit up of 3%, reversing the trend. A 5% yield of 25,000. This is the first time that I have been playing in stocks for so long, making a quick profit. My body and mind are inexplicably excited and stirred. Zhang Long's younger brother is too powerful, stable and accurate. If we don't sell off Weiyuan and Longpeng, and Tuohai doesn't have the money to replenish its position at a low price, it will result in repeated losses. The feeling of excitement and making money is really good. Sister Zhang. Zhang Long spoke in a gentle tone, thank you for trusting Xingxian and his brother. Don't be too excited. Your emotions shouldn't fluctuate too much while you're pregnant. Just relax and follow the pace of the market. Believe in yourself. Take a good rest and wait quietly. Zhang Lizhen knew that the stock market had just stopped trading, and Zhang Long still had a lot of phone calls to make, which should not take up too much time. Therefore, after thanking her again, she hung up the call. However, her emotions couldn't calm down for a while. She sold her stocks for the first time to avoid a sharp drop and immediately gained profits by buying at the bottom. Good luck brings good luck. Son. Zhang Lizhen had a joyful expression, caressing her bulging belly while blooming with maternal radiance. This was arranged by heaven to conceive and meet Zhang Long. Time comes and pregnancy changes, I won't deceive you. I hope to make a smooth profit every day and finally get rid of the situation, with a full repayment of the 3 million principal as soon as possible. The expected delivery period is still 3 months, and it will be okay before the end of November. Blessed by Guanyin Bodhisattva, Amen. Brother Chen, there's still a chance. Zhang Long's tone was solemn. Tuohai Energy has been vigorously testing the 5 yuan support for 2 consecutive days, but unfortunately, tomorrow may be the last opportunity. Once it starts a strong rise, it is not easy to chase up and buy again. If there are still idle funds, we must seize them when opening tomorrow. Sister Yu, my dear sister. If we hesitate any longer, we really won't have a chance. If we don't have a chance by tomorrow or Wednesday, we may have nothing to do with bottoming out and unraveling. Brother Wang. Sister Lu. Phone after phone. Zhang Long, with an excited expression, called the customers and combined the analysis and trend of the past 2 days to win more customer trust. Tomorrow's selling should be done, and the additional funds that need to be added should be mobilized. Brother Xian Long, make a lot of money. Liang Shui and other colleagues in the team were stunned. They had never seen Zhang Long so enthusiastic and confident when talking to clients on the phone. It is easy to imagine which client who was covered did not want such assistance. Can we get rid of the situation? Just being assisted by such a stockbroker gives us a lot of confidence. Even if it's still over, I'm willing. Xian Jie, where have you been? Sorry. As soon as Zhang Long heard these words, he knew he was going to suffer, and as expected, he changed. There was a collision and rear end on the road, and we are dealing with it. Let's reschedule another day. Alright, we'll be busy for now. Okay, Sister Qian. The phone hung up, and Zhang Long chuckled lightly. It's not important if there's a real or fake rear-end collision. If it doesn't arrive, it means it hasn't arrived, and since we didn't have high expectations, it doesn't matter. Ms. Qian's order is in vain, so let's go get other orders. There are many customers waiting to be fed. Rain and dew are evenly distributed, and Brother Long is also here. Brother Long, you're cheating. After dinner, the team gathered together for a chat. Faced with the admiring gaze of his colleagues, Zhang Long was very humble and said, let's have a hard time analyzing. What customers need is confidence. In case a blind cat meets a dead mouse and gets confused, right? Anyway, it's been a few years for more cases and a few months for less cases. The client's heart is already strong, and even if the analysis is wrong, it's okay. They'll forget about it later. Alright, we're starting work. Zhang Long is not arrogant or complacent. Just say something that the public likes to listen to. Self-proclaimed boasting will only attract jealousy, and it is also a foolish statement. Don't ask for advice. Sharing some experiences is possible, but voluntary assistance is not enough. Not sharing clients. No need to talk. On-the-job colleagues, unless they are dead and can't die again, clients, they will not easily deliver sharing. As long as they occasionally move and do transactions, they will not share the commission even if they are in their hands. This is human nature. It is very difficult to revive a completely heartbroken customer. If Zhang Long had not opened his golden finger, it would not have been so easy to restore the customer's trading confidence. First, take care of your own reputation, then the team manager Yang Shui's reputation and the perception of colleagues. Sorry for not signing and sharing. Hello, Sister Ma. In this way, Zhang Long, who had worked overtime again, quickly entered a working state and fully seized the opportunity to strike while the iron was hot. After all the clients under my name have been saved and entered the normal communication and trading mode, I can leave work normally. It is estimated that it will not take too long because I cannot be contacted or there is no response to any stimulation, so there is no need to force me. Mutual trust is the key to win-win outcomes. Moreover, it is not yet known how long one can work at Xingxin. After thoroughly understanding their eyes and fingers, if leaving the job and self-promotion are effective, they will definitely run away immediately. After all, the commission sharing for working is only a few yuan. Elementary school students all know which one to choose. September 5th, Wednesday. A new day begins again. 9. Just after 00, a customer under Zhang Long's name started to deposit funds, but they cannot trade temporarily. If they do not participate in the call auction, they can operate trading after the official opening at 9.30, with flexibility and freedom. 9. Before the opening of the 30th, a total of 3 clients added funds, among which Mr. Chen added another 900,000 compared to yesterday's 100,000, which is impressive and indeed wealthy. Don't worry, Brother Chen. Zhang Longtong said on the phone, Tuohai Energy just opened with a 3.5% increase in revenue, and there is still plenty of room for improvement. If you believe in the market, don't hesitate and avoid operating. Chen Yue is quiet and reserved. However, every time I make a phone call, I always answer it and have my own opinions. I have 5 or 6 stocks locked in my account. How to persuade them not to sell or cut the flesh anyway? With Zhang Long's accurate analysis of Tuohai Energy for 2 consecutive days, a total of 1 million additional funds were added and all were bought. The other two added funds before the opening, one was 200,000 yuan and the other was 350,000 yuan. Also by Tuohai Energy. Zhang Long saw the 5-day forecast trend of this week on Monday, and the yield can reach over 20% in a straight line. If he sells up on the same day, then buys down again for short-term operations, it can still reach over 30%. However, few customers will be so obedient unless they trust him very much. After all, every time you buy and sell, there will be transaction commissions and other taxes, which cannot be easily done without fully gaining trust. Otherwise, if the commission and tax fees that the customer has not yet paid for profit are high, it is inevitable that trust will be broken. No matter how win it is, customers must be at the top. There's no problem getting Friday. Zhang Long gave the customer a preventive shot. Tuohai Energy is expected to strengthen its trend until Friday, but it's not easy to predict if it's closed on Saturday or Sunday. Let's look at the trend on Friday afternoon. If there is a downward trend, it's better to sell first. In this way, even if there is unfavorable news on Saturdays and Sundays, there will be no losses when opening on Monday, and even if the positive news is missed, it's okay to find another opportunity to insert. Prudent operation without greed. Zhang Long has said all the good words and bad words, but the specific choice will depend on the customer themselves. Zhang Long will temporarily ignore this and continue to busy making phone calls. In the first week of September, running first wins. September performance target. Number 1, end of this chapter. Chapter 7. In. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 in. Thursday passed by in a flash. Compared to the previous day, a few more clients under Zhang Long's name have started operations, and although there are not many transactions, at least they have moved forward, gradually improving. Although the number of customers answering phone calls for analysis is increasing, most of them have not received additional funds. Watching helplessly, regretting. Sister you. Zhang Long's tone was melancholic. A week has just passed, and I've been watching the stocks that have been locked up for a week. Tuohai Energy has risen by 20%, and without selling or adding funds, even if the gods come, they won't be able to unwind. Brother Wang. I did my best. I have analyzed several stocks in your hands since Monday and Tuesday, and there is no reason for the fundamental and technical aspects to rise, so there is no way. Sister Lu. I know no one is willing to cut the meat, but if you want to break free from the trap, you need to have the funds to buy new stocks. Waiting for the trapped stocks to rise, it's difficult for a while. On Friday morning, Zhang Long called several clients who regretted not being confident about Tuohai Energy. On Monday and Tuesday, I was communicating suggestions and watching as the stocks in my hands were still stuck, while Tuohai Energy rose 20%, I became anxious. But it's useless to be in a hurry. Without cutting meat or adding funds, there's no way to buy Tuohai Energy without money. There should be another chance next week. Zhang Long paused in his tone and said, rising from 5 yuan to over 6 yuan should not be the limit. The specific situation depends on the afternoon trading halt and whether there is any fundamental news on Saturdays and Sundays. Technically, it continues to be bullish. But we have agreed. If you don't want to sell off, then gather the idle funds as soon as possible on Saturday and Sunday. If the opportunity is suitable next Monday, seize it immediately. If you miss it again, there's no way out. Zhang Long, this is basically the way we end up saying things to a few clients. If we don't move next week, let's continue to follow suit and allocate our energy to other clients. Those who are unwilling to sell and wait for their holdings to rise again and recoup their losses will not have to worry too much. Trapped to death, powerless. Xiao Zhang, really throwing. Zhang Lizhen is a bit reluctant. The stock market is about to close in half an hour, and the day after tomorrow is Saturday and Sunday. However, Zhang Long does not recommend holding positions for the weekend and asks her to sell. If the market starts to rise sharply on Monday, wouldn't it be missing the best opportunity to enter the market and feeling very conflicted? Sister Zhang. Zhang Long took a light breath and said, I know that even if I don't make enough money after buying stocks, I don't want to sell them. However, holding a position over the weekend carries uncertain fundamental risks. As you know, if there is any unfavorable news, we can also avoid losses. Opportunities are available every day, so it's important not to be greedy. You decide specifically. Zhang Long can only analyze suggestions, and in the end, it is still up to Zhang Lizhen to make her own decision, not to force. I have already called Qin Yuwei and several other customers who bought Tuohai Energy before, but none of them paid attention. We must take advantage of the bottom line. If there are no other stocks that are trapped and can still make a profit, then we can go, but the road to return on investment is too far. Run for a brief profit, forget it. Okay. Despite being reluctant, Zhang Lizhen ultimately followed Zhang Long's advice and reluctantly sold. After all, there has indeed been a significant return on investment and profit from replenishing positions this week. Although there is still a long way to go before the total principal of 3 million, at least there is hope. Previously, the account only had a minimum holding capital of 1 million, but now the return on investment and profit have reached 1.3 million. And Longping Technology and Weiyuan Biotechnology suffered a disastrous decline, fortunately they sold off before. The fact is in front of you, choose to be obedient. However, not all of them were sold off, but the profits from the previously replenished 500,000 buying stocks were settled, and those held at high levels continued to be held, waiting for a subsequent rebound. The amount of liberated funds is approximately 650,000. Zhang, rest assured. Zhang Long was a bit moved, and Zhang Lizhen was the only one who trusted and obediently sold in the afternoon. My younger brother will do his best to assist you in getting back to your original position. Rest well on Saturdays and Sundays, and rest well. Let's fight again next Monday, he said. Hang up, you're busy. 6.45 yuan, the closing price of Tuohai Energy. Next week's opening will be either up or down, and Zhang Long is currently unclear. We will predict next Monday. The stock market will be closed on Saturdays and Sundays tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. After finishing work, it's time for the end of the workday. Tonight, the team will no longer work overtime and can go home early to relax and rest. In recent days, Zhang Long has contacted an agent to prepare some good one-bedroom properties for tomorrow's review. If you're optimistic tomorrow, move on Sunday. Director Zhang. Zhang Long packed up his things and prepared to leave work. Liang Shui handed over a piece of paper and said, I'll put some burden on you. Next Monday, these few clients will share with you, and we'll do our best to save and assist them. They're all wealthy families, come on. Sister Xie Shui. Zhang Longhan, nod okay. In fact, apart from a limited number of customers, Liang Shui no longer personally assists. Since the beginning of the year, some small customers or those who are not very active have already shared, leaving only a few large households with at least 2 million households. Zhang Lizhen is one of them. This time, I also saw that Zhang Long's working condition in the past few days has been very good. More than a dozen customers have started again, although most have only started once or twice. But at least demonstrated confidence, passion, and ability, achieving the benchmark of maintaining major clients. Add some burden and give it a push. Otherwise, relying solely on the existing customers who are reluctant to sell their products, have no idle funds, and spend a lot of time and effort to make transactions, they will take a break. Since it seems that there is no risk of being eliminated, let's climb up and compete for the top 3. Feng Shui takes turns, it's time to rise up. Remember to move. After finishing the matter, see you next week. Watching the manager's graceful departure with his bag, Zhang Long breathed a sigh of relief. No matter how much pressure he felt, he never saw Yang Shui get angry in a hurry. This woman. Heart is big. I am too good to the team, I have nurtured them all. Zhang Long didn't go straight home from work, but went to a nearby shopping mall, not to go shopping. After moving, he would make a big purchase and change clothes without delay. Indeed. On the first floor of the shopping mall, Zhang Long looked at the jade, gold, and other jewelry at the counter. After 3 to 5 minutes, there was no abnormality in his eyes, feeling regretful and melancholic. These days, while working at the company during the day, there has been no response to downloading foreign exchange or futures trading. Only reacting to stocks, heart-stopping. Otherwise, if you can also see the return on antique calligraphy in painting, just resign and go crazy to sweep the goods at major antique gathering places. If you sell them, you can quickly become rich, which is much more satisfying than the current hard work of tutoring clients to earn commission sharing. Depression. Don't let them lie down and make a profit. Forget it, let's go with fate. Zhang Long sighed and said, if there's no surprise, let's have a delicious meal to treat ourselves to this week's hard work. Tomorrow, we'll look at the house and move the day after tomorrow, without much ink. Although the commission for this week's transactions was not calculated in detail, it is estimated to add up to around 10,000 yuan. Commission. 2 to 3,000. We need to continue working hard next week. Bull market. While having dinner, Zhang Long compared the economic development processes of the two worlds in his mind. If I remember correctly, the 7-year bear market that ended in the summer of about 14 years in his previous life, and the complete start of the bull market, lasted until the summer of 15 years. A year of bull market, brief. When the bear market returns, a large amount of funds flee and transfer to real estate, causing housing prices to skyrocket again. Swishing and terrifying. There are still 2 years left. Zhang Long breathed a sigh of relief, with his eyes and golden fingers in his eyes. The difference between a bear market and a bull market is not significant, but it's just that there are differences in customer trading activity. However, as long as customers completely trust, even a bear market can have a high trading volume. In the future, housing prices will not wait for others. At least, it is necessary to buy more houses to maintain their value before the bull market arrives, and real estate will be used as a cover to achieve financial freedom. After all, these eerie eyes, those who are both spiritual and those who are not, may one day be completely ordinary as usual. Be prepared for the rain and cannot rely too much. Buzz, buzz, suddenly, the phone vibrated. Zhang Long's thoughts were interrupted. He lowered his head to look at the message popping up on his phone screen, his gaze fixed, and his Q-chat account, which had not been found for 800 years, was overturned. Class Monitor Luo Man. Where is it? End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Live Up to Youth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Live Up to Youth Bund, 1 bedroom. Zhang Long did not choose the direction of Lujiazui Financial Center to search for housing, but instead chose the bund on the opposite bank. Fine decoration, Linjiang. The houses at this end can directly view the Oriental Pearl TV tower across the river, as well as the 3-piece set of Mordor Tower. The night scenery will also be more gorgeous, brilliant and modern. Money is not a problem. On Saturday morning, Zhang Long set out early to the bund to meet the intermediary to see the house. However, after watching the two houses, they were not riverside residences. Although living in a high-rise building, he could see the Oriental Pearl TV tower across the building, but his vision was not as wide as riverside, and he could not see the Huangpu River. The occasional whistling sound of ferry boats passing by the river is also a scenery that I don't want to miss. There are too few one-bedroom apartments. Xiao Wu, the intermediary, smiled bitterly. There are not many one-bedroom houses across the river that can directly watch the Oriental Pearl TV tower. They are basically occupied. If we accept shared rental, how many more second or master bedrooms are available in Linjiang? Is that okay? Zhang Long frowned and hesitated a bit. Sharing a house is not impossible, after all, it is expected to buy a house here on the Bund after making a lot of money. Whether it is sharing a house or renting a whole house, it is a temporary transition. Can we have it next week? Xiao Wu shook his head and said, it depends on luck. Generally, those who rent a one-bedroom apartment as a whole are industry elites, and they won't move without job transfers. The latest one-bedroom apartment in Linjiang was 2 months ago. In fact, the 2 sets I just saw are very good. I can see the Oriental Pearl TV tower across the building, and I'm tired of listening to the ship's whistle too much. Zhang Long pondered, his mind spinning. Brother, to be honest. If you don't cook frequently, it's best to rent a shared apartment. The one-bedroom apartment in Linjiang is renovated and rented for less than 10,000 yuan. Whether it's a second bedroom or a master bedroom, it's only about 4.500 yuan, which can save half of the cost and make it more cost-effective. What can be saved is a point. The reason why Zhang Long chose Linjiang is also because the ferry is not far from downstairs, and it is more convenient to cross the river to work on weekdays with a short walking distance. If you are separated from the community, you have to go downstairs at least 10 to 8 minutes in advance, which makes it uncomfortable to sleep less and wake up early. It is better to be closer. Just like this, I don't know when I can wait for a one-bedroom apartment, so let's share it together. Moving early and getting back on track, I don't want to commute for 3 hours next week. Working overtime, going to bed late and waking up early, tormenting. Brother, 1201. Xiao Wu is very fast, and in just one lunch, he searched for several properties, both exclusive and shared with other agents, each with its own advantages and disadvantages. Find the senior management. Zhang Long shook his head. Although the 12th floor is not low, it is not high, and there is no higher level with a wider view. The viewing effect is definitely different. Anyway, going up and down the stairs is by elevator, so there is no need to worry about climbing stairs when there is a power outage. Probability. Occasional. Brother, this set. Go to other buildings again. After watching it, Zhang Long was not very satisfied. The minimum requirement for sharing a house was hygiene. If the kitchen or living room was messy, there was no need to consider it. As for whether the other homeowners were male or female, it was not important and he did not plan to make friends. Master bedroom, private bathroom. The scope is further reduced, and if the master bedroom has a separate bathroom, it does not need to be shared with other tenants. Getting up early to wash and brush teeth will also prevent collisions and ensure safety. It's okay if it's more expensive, just to feel comfortable. So, after continuing to look at a few master bedrooms, Zhang's faucet was a bit large. Not even one of them didn't work, but it was either the kitchen, living room, or master bedroom bathroom, and so on. In short, there were some issues to some extent. It's okay not to pick, one pick is useless. Stop, switch to a 2-bedroom apartment. Finally, Zhang Long, who has fallen into the dilemma of choosing, is no longer wasting his efforts. He has increased his budget to rent a 2-bedroom apartment, and the size of the apartment is not too large. In fact, it will not be much more expensive. Previously, he just felt that it was not necessary to rent a 2-bedroom apartment for one person, but now it seems that he has lost his mark and is becoming increasingly indecisive. Tomorrow we will move, and the birds will change their nests. Hi, here. Shoulder slapped, Zhang Long turned around. At first glance was the beautiful and charming smile of former class monitor Luo Man. Her black shawl and long hair swayed in the wind, and a colorful buttoned short shirt was held up high under her neck. The tail hem was all tied up in tight blue jeans, and she wore white flat casual shoes, which were both youthful and energetic. Not far apart, less than a meter away, the fragrance of hair and body is unknown, it smells very pleasant. class monitor. Zhang Long was stunned and regained his senses. Last night, Luo Man suddenly chatted and contacted, but didn't say much. He only asked if he could meet up if there was anything, so after looking at the properties, Zhang Long went to the commercial street near the bank where he had previously saved money and transferred money. Luo Man's job is in this area, and she lives in the nearby dormitory arranged by the bank staff, which is convenient. What to eat? I'll treat you. With a wave of her hand, Luo Man introduced familiar restaurants or specialty dishes nearby, offering everything from spicy, sweet, to salty. Zhang Long didn't hesitate to eat casually. Then, let's have hot pot. Romaine's eyes lit up after a little meditation, but it was not a double-dot flavor hot pot, but a small hot pot for two. In this way, Zhang Long followed Luo Man into the shopping mall and arrived at a branded hot pot chain, which was a bit like the previous life of sipping, with good taste and price. The set meal for two includes a vegetable and mushroom platter, along with a few individual dishes. The order is complete. Class monitor, what's up? Zhang Long spoke straightforwardly. He had no other thoughts about Luo Man. If it weren't for Luo Man's insistence on meeting in person, he probably wouldn't have come over. He had a short mouth. I couldn't help but think of the dream of Luo Man going home and kissing and getting out of bed after dinner, which made me feel embarrassed. End early, finish early. Don't worry, don't borrow money. Luo Man rolled her angry eyes as if complaining about someone's lack of understanding. If possible, I can apply for a credit card with you. Based on your deposit amount, there should be no problem with the 100,000 yuan platinum card limit, she said. Using credit cards for daily consumption is also beneficial for credit accumulation, and it is easier to approve loans for buying a house in the future. If there is a demand or not, it's okay to let it go. It does not affect classmates' friendship. 10,000 yuan, deposit 1 to pay 3. After returning to the rental house for dinner, Zhang Long was packing various types of luggage while calculating in his heart. The two-bedroom apartment rented on the Bund costs 10,000 yuan per month, with a deposit of 45,000 yuan and an intermediary fee of 45,000 yuan. There is still 3.48 million yuan left in the bank card, but I will need to buy bedding, pillowcases, and daily necessities when I move to a new place tomorrow. If you want to change your phone, clothes, shoes, etc., you have to spend money, which is a bit of a waste. My predecessor's internship and work took about 2.5 years to save over 20,000 yuan. If I hadn't won 5 million yuan, I would have been the lowest level worker alive. The winning 5 million first donated 250000, otherwise we would have to wait for the director's approval, and how long we will wait is unknown. After paying taxes, the remaining 4.75 million was obtained and 3.8 million was obtained, plus 2.5 years of savings, totaling over 3.82 million. Unfortunately, the hangover has twisted my hair. Zhang Long traveled over and, according to his predecessor's wishes, first took 500,000 cash to the Fan family to vent his accumulated frustration. Then, he saved money and donated 300,000 to a welfare account in a certain street in Hangzhou, leaving over 3.52 million in the end. The depression dissipates, and the body and mind are light. Having been in this world for a week, Zhang Long still seems to be unreal in his dream. Perhaps one day, he will wake up and return to his past life as a street thug. Who doesn't want to be reborn or travel through life to make up for regrets and embark on a brilliant life at the pinnacle of life? If we could start over, everyone would want to. Everyone bothers themselves. Suddenly, Zhang Long chuckled at himself. Since heaven has given him a chance to start over, worrying about gains and losses is nothing, whether it's in his dreams or in this world, it doesn't matter. The brilliant and exciting life of hard work is the way and the main thing. The inexplicable emotions of spending money on renting a house, having dinner with Luo Man, and packing his luggage all touched Zhang Long's heart. He took a deep breath and exhaled, saying who he loved. Don't waste your youth, don't waste this life. Soul washing and sublimation. Shattered sensation. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Busy Monday mornings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Busy Monday mornings. Check in with your bag. Zhang Long didn't pack too many things when moving, a total of 1 suitcase and 1 backpack, finished the work. Arriving at the new house at noon, I simply filled my stomach and began to purchase a large amount of household and daily necessities, and changed into new clothes from head to toe, spending money like water. Starting today. Embrace a new life. Handsome. At night, Zhang Long finished tidying up his new home and stood in the living room to watch the scenery outside the window. The bund was crowded with people, and the colorful ferry on the river shimmered with neon lights, moving slowly forward. Occasionally, there was also a wave of whistling. Later, there is the Oriental Pearl TV tower with light changing and shining, and the scenery of the buildings in Lujiazui. Observing the magnificent modern metropolis atmosphere in close proximity will truly inspire one's heart, as if life has already reached its peak and is very comfortable. Unfortunately. Zhang Long stretched lazily. If this house is not rented but purchased in full, and there is also a girlfriend to enjoy it together, I believe the experience would be better and more memorable. Thinking of this, Zhang Long's mind inexplicably flashed past Luo Man who had dinner together last night. Good figure and not bad appearance. Although she knew that if it weren't for the millions of deposits in her bank card, Luo Man would not have been so polite and friendly, at most she would have been a stranger. Applying for a credit card is not a big deal, although there is a lot of deposit in the card, it does not hinder the use of a credit card. Mobile payment has not yet emerged, so you can first swipe your credit card for daily consumption and shopping, and set up automatic repayment for monthly bills. Therefore, you agreed to Luo Man's request and come to your door to handle it another day. Come to Xingxin, don't misunderstand. Going to the company to apply for a credit card is also to see if there are any other colleagues who also want to apply. Buzz, buzz, suddenly, the phone vibrated. Zhang Long lowered his head and raised his eyebrows slightly. Did he have a clear idea? Just as he thought of Luo Man, a message came and he took a breath to type and reply, I'm ready to sleep. Online opposite Luo Man _ Good morning, Brother Long. On Monday, September 10th, Xingxin Finance. Living nearby is always enjoyable. Zhang Long slept until 8 o'clock before waking up, and the ferry was just outside the community. The 2-yuan boat ticket only takes a few minutes, making it very convenient to cross the river to work. Meeting. The meeting will be held at 9 o'clock, presided over by Liang Shui. Xingxin does not have the tradition of doing morning exercises early every morning to boost work mood. Each team can hold their own meetings at the designated time, without engaging in flashy activities. Before going to bed last night, Zhang Long collected fundamental information based on the shareholding of some clients. Most of the time, there are no significant changes in the company's financial reports or industry policies, which means that the stock price will not fluctuate too much, and there is no upward momentum in the overall bear market environment, so continue to hold on. However, Tuohai Energy will suffer. Last week, the price rose by more than 20%. The reason was given by a message on Saturday and Sunday, which was that Tuohai Energy was in talks with industry leaders about mergers and acquisitions. The news did not spread to the public, but now the result is out and it has failed. So, the stock price is expected to fall. Hiss, indeed. After the meeting ended, Zhang Long immediately switched to Tuohai Energy and opened below the limit, which was frightening. And on Tuesday, the trading continued to fall below the limit. On Wednesday, it closed down 7%, but it will close up 5%. On Thursday and Friday, it will close again at the limit up, and the volatility is still considerable. Based on a hasty analysis, Zhang Long has reason to speculate that the acquisition of Tuohai Energy has not been completely completed. Retail investors are at the very end of the message. The real participants in the competition for large amounts of capital will always be institutions, and individual investors can only drink soup or be cut off. Tuohai Energy is like this, harvesting back and forth those individual investors who blindly chase after a sharp drop and a rise. The opportunity has arrived. Zhang Long's emotions lifted, Ness. Only 2 pence. 9. Before the official opening of 30, there were 2 clients under Zhang Long's name who had not added funds last week, so this week they should follow Zhang Long's advice and take action. Although Tuohai Energy will hit the limit at the beginning of trading on Monday and Tuesday, Zhang Long has no pressure. There are over 100 stocks held by our clients, and although most of them have not responded, there are still a few that can rise. In addition, the company's analyst team can occasionally recommend 1 or 2 stocks on a daily basis, so there is basically no need to recommend stocks with relatively large fluctuations during the week to customers for trading, that is, the commission will not be too low. Last week, we gained a lot of customer trust. This week, we will continue to strengthen our trust and it will explode next week. Brother Xin Long, win and earn together. Sister Zhang. Zhang Long was the first to call Zhang Lizhen and said, "Don't worry about Tuohai Energy hitting the limit at the opening. Let's wait for a day or 2 and don't worry." Last week, we made a profit of 650,000 yuan. Please pay attention to XX Pharmaceutical. This stock is an important recommendation in today's company report. XX Pharmaceuticals, Zhang Long predicts the future trend through his eyes. A total of 10% increase on Monday and Tuesday, selling before the closing on Tuesday, and buying Tuohai again at the opening on Wednesday. Good Zhang Lizhen should have been hit hard by the opening trend of Tuohai Energy falling below the limit. Last week, a portion of the profits were lost, but holding on to the remaining portion is equivalent to giving back the profits from last week. If the market continues to decline tomorrow, the disguised profits from last week's loss will have to be taken back, causing panic. However, Zhang Long's words gave a glimmer of hope. If the trend of Tuohai is not good, then buy something else. It's not enough to stick to one stock, just be obedient. So, Zhang Lizhen understood what Zhang Long meant and directly bought XX Pharmaceutical for 650,000 yuan. When will it come out? Wait for the greeting. Brother Chen. Zhang Long sighed and said, "No one can predict that Tuohai Energy will hit the limit at the opening. The news of the merger failure was disclosed yesterday and Sunday, so we can only continue to wait and see. However, the stock price is here, and mergers and acquisitions will not be easily abandoned, there will still be opportunities. My suggestion is to prepare in advance if there are still idle funds, so that when the decline stops, we can catch a big rebound and run for profits." Sister Yu. Zhang Long calmed his emotions and said, "It's just that the merger failed rather than giving up completely. The founding team of Tuohai Energy will not easily give up and wait for a rebound. Prepare idle funds, once the decline stops and there is a rebound trend, it is an opportunity." Brother Wang. Tuohai Energy will wait and see for the decline to stabilize before grasping. Today, the company's analysis team's key recommended stock is XX Pharmaceutical, which can be seen. So, Zhang Long made one call after another outside, calling based on the customer situation. Customers who bought Tuohai Energy last week but did not make any profit and ran away, and those with available funds in their accounts are recommended to follow XX Pharmaceutical and other individual stocks. Like the 2 additional funds before today's opening, and 2 additional funds after the opening. I was very interested in buying XX Pharmaceutical. Utilizing his predictive ability, Zhang Long provides assistance based on the subsequent trends of multiple stocks, targeting different clients' holdings and available funds in their accounts. Preliminary entry. Normal mode. Of course, always laying the groundwork for customers to add funds is the theme. After all, trapped stocks cannot be released, and there is no funds in the account, so how to buy, sell, and trade. The whole morning saw initial results. 6 of my clients have added funds, and over 10 have conducted transactions. It started off well on Monday. Director Zhang. Suddenly, Liang Shui called out. Something's up. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Bet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Bet. The several major clients shared by Liang Shui, Zhang Long has not called yet and is too busy in the morning to have time. The larger the amount of funds, the more independent the client will be. Don't easily cut off the trapped stocks, and build trust when adding funds. It's basically not something that can be done in a day or two, so take it slow and don't rush. And Liang Shui said, someone is looking for me. Qian Kaiying. Last week, I stood up Zhang Long's pigeon and said he came to the company for a meeting, but unexpectedly ended up not coming. In fact, Liang Shui didn't believe this, but now he has really come. The account was initially locked up with 500,000 yuan of funds after a few transactions, and it has never been moved again. The reception room, dressed in simple yet fashionable attire, looked a bit surprising to Zhang Long as Qian Kaiying, who was only in her 20s and 60s, exuded a wealthy and feminine aura. The bag placed on the table would cost at least tens of thousands if it's not made of grade a big brand. Sorry, I missed the appointment last week. Qian Kaiying showed a hint of apology and said, it's true that there was a rear-end collision on the way here. The front of the car was all dented, but it's already been dealt with over the weekend. I'll make an appointment today. I only have one question. Zhang Long. Liang Shui, listen quietly. 500,000 yuan was trapped in your hands after just a few operations, and now there is less than 200,000 yuan left. How can I insure my interests with 5 million yuan? If there are only a few 100,000 yuan left, let's just play with it. A few million yuan is not a small sum of money. Qian Kaiying shrugged her shoulders and said, let's just draw big cakes or something. It's very difficult to make money in the current bear market. I have money, but I'm not a fool. To be honest, I have also opened accounts on other platforms, and they all threw 500,000 yuan to test the waters. In fact, all losses. Zhang Long. Liang Shui glanced at each other and knew that what Qian Kaiying wanted was a guarantee. It didn't matter if it was a few 100,000 yuan, but if it was a few million yuan, it wouldn't be easy to get into trouble. Why should I invest 5 million yuan into your Xingxin account to ensure that I can make a profit? I can't guarantee it, so don't say anything. Qian Jie. Liang Shui remained silent, and Zhang Long pondered slightly before saying, I'm afraid the only thing I can make is to deposit money in the bank and earn interest, provided that the principal is not transferred by temporary workers. You want a guarantee that doesn't exist in any company, even if you're buying a fund. I can only say, whatever. Qian Kaiying is a beautiful choice, oh. Zhang Long smiled slightly and said, if Sister Qian trusts, then add more funds. If you don't trust, then forget about it. Investment is something we are willing to do, and we will ensure that profits are not provided. Don't want 5 million anymore. I want it, but not extravagantly. Zhang Long smiled and said again, I won't try to please you just because you are my client. I estimate that other companies will greet you with a smile even if they are not satisfied with communication with you. I apologize or say something like that, but I, Zhang Long, won't. If you believe it, then continue to cooperate. Last week, we suggested that you pay attention to Tuohai Energy, which rose by more than 20%. It opened at the limit down on Monday today, but you can continue to monitor it. Mergers and acquisitions will not be easily abandoned completely. After the decline stops, it is expected to see a rebound. There may be an opportunity on Wednesday or Thursday, can you bet? Yo ho, how about using the method of provocation? Qian Kaiying looked beautiful again, but her gaze towards Zhang Long changed, which was a bit interesting. Just consider yourself a fierce general. Zhang Long spoke seriously, the choice is in your hands, Sister Qian. Even if I analyze and estimate accurately, you don't need to pay attention. The customer is God. Liang Shui watched silently and smiled. Okay, let's take a gamble. After a moment of silence, Qian Kaiying suddenly stood up with a smile on her face and said, "In the afternoon, I will deposit 1 million yuan first, and wait for you to analyze whether Tuohai energy has rebounded. There are only 3 opportunities, and if 1 million can make a profit in the 3 transactions without losing. 5 million, followed closely behind." The arrival of Qian Kaiying was just an interlude for Zhang Long, as there was no pressure and he obediently waited for 5 million to be captured, adding another wealthy person. In the afternoon, the busy work continued. "Director Zhang, I'm in." Around 2 o'clock, Liang Shui suddenly heard a surprise. Qian Kaiying had deposited 1 million yuan into her account, and her heart was finally settled without boasting. Although she looked at Qian Kaiying with a bold and wealthy demeanor, she might just be pretending. Before investing, everything was illusory. Continue to work hard. Zhang Long takes orders, it's necessary. It feels great to work hard without being urged, establish trust, add funds, and be obedient, all of which ultimately reflect on the transaction commission. Zhang Long roughly calculated to strive for a trading commission of no less than 40,000 this week, instantly ranking in the top 3. There is still next week, and it will only be better next week. The entire September is expected to not be less than 200,000 yuan. Hello, Mr. Song. At this point, Zhang Long had already started communicating with several wealthy individuals shared by Liang Shui, totaling 4. However, the first 2 were not answered, and the third one was successfully connected. Introduce your identity and indicate that you will be assisting Liang Shui in the future, and communicate with her anytime if needed. There was no lengthy discussion, but after analyzing the account holdings, it was recommended to pay attention to a few stocks and lay the groundwork for building trust. The process was very skilled. Then there is the 4th major account, which has also been connected, and the process is no different from the previous one. Big spenders have too much subjectivity and generally have a certain level of confidence in their technical analysis. It is not easy to gain recognition and needs to be honed slowly. In this way, Zhang Long's work proceeded in an orderly manner, and the call did not stop all afternoon. XX Pharmaceuticals closed 4.5% higher after trading was suspended. Today, I trust Zhang Long and understand the key points to pay attention to. The customers who can buy are all very happy. It turns out that making money is also very simple, as long as you can understand the language. Brother Long. Bai Xiaoying's tone was a bit shy. Although the work during the day went smoothly, Zhang Long still had to work overtime at night to continue communicating with clients. During the break after dinner, colleague Bai Xiaoying said, "Be cautious." "What's wrong?" Bai Xiaoying took out a bottle of a certain cow beverage from behind and handed it to Zhang Long, shyly speaking, "I have a few clients who want to give you guidance." "Okay, Brother Long." Petite in stature, with sparkling big eyes. "Sure, I won't choose." Zhang Long took the drink from a certain cow and smiled, "I don't guarantee that the tutoring will be good, but I will do my best." In fact, other colleagues in the entire team have referred to Zhang Long's language to maintain old customers, and there are also those who have bravely saved customers, although not many. So there's no need to necessarily share. If you can save it, you can only enjoy commission sharing. If you can't save it, there's no loss. Of course, if you don't have the energy to tutor and share, it's okay. Don't be afraid, in case you encounter a big family. Well, no problem. Bai Xiaoying nodded forcefully. Zhang Long's work performance last week and today fully demonstrates his high ability. He has added funds to no less than 10 trapped clients, totaling over 3.5 million yuan, which is not a small amount. And it's still a long way from the end of the month, if we can still continue to add funds, at least say tens of millions. Can handle the invoicing for a team now. It should be noted that it is not easy to develop new customers in a bear market in the stock market. Many people would rather deposit their money in banks or buy less risky funds than invest in stocks. They can only buy up instead of short. It is not difficult to make money in a bull market. If you really want to play, it is better to play futures, as you can buy both up and down. In this environment, Zhang Long can still make trapped customers add funds one after another, and this ability does not need to be hesitated anymore. Share and earn together. Anyway, there is no more movement in the handshake. If it can be saved, it would be a surprise. Start working. Zhang Long takes a light breath and leaves you. Making a lot of phone calls naturally leads to making money. End of this chapter.